Peace. What's the science, universal family? On another glorious day of the science of living mathematics. What is today's mathematics? Power refinement. Because it is the 5th day of the month. What is your 5th letter? E. What is E in the supreme alphabet? Equality. Now let's break it down like a fraction. What is power? Power is the ability to do work. It is what gives you that push to get things done. What is refinement? Refinement is to be able to bring back to its purest form. Right? For example, for those of you who work outside, get dirty and all that, when you go take a shower, you're cleaning yourself up. You bring yourself back to your pure form where you don't have outside contaminants. It's also like when when you got a pen, or pencils or whatever, and for artists who got all that, you got the fine point and you got the blunted point and all that. So just refine, you're resharpening. Now you're putting it back to what its intended purpose is. How do we apply that to today's degree? How I see power is that after you've gone through, like I said, the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the culture of freedom, now it is time for you to be able to apply all these things, and be able to bring yourself back, because you went through already the gauntlet, which is part of me, the wisdom. You've gone through the hardships. Now you gotta brush off your shoulders, clean yourself up, bring yourself back to your pure form. And that's what that power is what allows you to do that. Because we understand it is hard, it's difficult, especially when you got to deal with the internal traumas and everything that you're going through. You have to be able to know that you can bring yourself back to how you were, because along the way, what could happen is that you might get influenced, you might get sidetracked, or anything like that, and it does happen because the devil works in very subtle ways, and as you're still working on you, obviously there's still a lot of parts of you that you may not know. And it's important that we can and will, get yourself back on track. And that is done through the power of refinement. And always pay attention to the fact that it's power or refinement. Because sometimes when you accomplish the culture of being free, sometimes what you got to deal with is the refinement now, because now you understand your mind is free from the shackles. Now you got to start dealing with the cleaning process. Start looking for all nooks and crannies within your mental and how to break these things apart and take them away from yourself. Just like when you're cleaning, you're finding out the little corners and all this type of stuff. Or sometimes got to deal with the power. It's the ability to put in the work now. You're free, so now it's time to put in the work. The time to start making knowledge born to others, because that requires power. You hear the term knowledge is power. I don't see that, because knowledge alone is not power. You can have the greatest library in the world, but if nobody is utilizing it, then what good does it do? Applying knowledge is power, right? And truth can be a source of power. Not that the truth is power and will in itself. No. You know, that's how I see it. You know, I break things down the best way I can, how I see it. And because you got to look at different elements by themselves, cannot just be just that. You know, you can utilize these things, just like knowledge is not power. You got to be able to utilize knowledge, what you can do with that knowledge, and what you're doing with that knowledge is what allows you to, gives you the ability to do things. You know, because once you learn how to fix a car, let's say, doesn't mean you're automatically going to do it. What good is that knowledge of fixing a car if you never do? Just sitting there. Probably the best thing, if you don't do it, you go to a mechanic and you see to make sure that they're not, you know, overcharging you or doing something else. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. But other than that, you have to be able to apply this knowledge that you have. And the most important one is just having the knowledge of self, the truth of you, or who you are, where you come from. And it's important. And, you know, I hear a lot of young folks saying that they don't care about history. And it's not just so much American history or world history, but it's what's relative to you, of how your people got to where they are today, and seeing that, because if you are part of a culture, right, certain aspects of your upbringing, if you have some type of attachment to that, you know, it's important to know where it comes from and how everything just got molded in and formulated to what it is now. You know, so it's important that we look at these things, because you need to know where you're going. And the only way to know where you're going, if you're kind of lost, you kind of look back and you see what path you came from. You understand? And you can see what patterns you were taking, and that should help guide you to how you're going to move forward. You know, and what better way than to realize who you are, to finally realize your roots and what your true potential is. Now you can make the right adjustments through that refinement process. What does that have to do with equality? Well, through power, you can learn to balance yourself out, balance the things that you need to do, right? Because let's say we're just with health-wise, you know, and all this alkaline this and alkaline that, right? We're learning that. We learn that in this society, it's a very acidic diet, right? So with this power, you have the ability to refine yourself. But there comes an element of equality, which is meant to be equal in all things. You got to learn how to balance your body out. You know what I'm saying? Balance your acids with the alkaline, the bases. And knowing, oh, I had too much candy, or I had too much of this, I got to, you know, balance it out with water. You know, and we deal with this at all times. We don't even know. Even like when the young children want juice or something like that, and you can tell that it's really strong, you water it down with water. You know, you balance it out for them, so it's not as harsh for them. You know, that equality is important, because look at the word quality. To me, emotional quality. This is important because some people get drunk off the power and become somebody completely different. This is why the refinement is there, because we come from the dead world. And that dead world, what that means is that we were mentally dead. We were just walking zombies. And once having knowledge of self, you are alive mentally. And obviously there's still things that you have to clean yourself up. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. Because if you don't have the proper equality to check and balance yourselves out, and you get this element of power and no refinement, how do you know to check yourself when you've gone too far? You know, things might sound good on paper, but the truth of the matter is, is that we have the capacity of being corrupted, and it is important that we learn this, right? So many things I wanted to say. I'm just trying to break it all down and not trail off. But this equality is most hard when it's on yourself, because you got to know when you got to check yourself. Everybody's, oh, I checked them. Why somebody else got to check you? If you and the universe is one and the same, and you potentially have all things within you, then you have that full capacity to check yourself and to deal with refinement and refine yourself and be like, yo, I messed up. I got to go through the refining process and bring myself back to my original state of being, which is divine, and deal with proper application of power, because that's really what it is. Power, you see the electricity, that's all. Why we call that power? Because it's the ability to be able to do something. I can overpower you. What does that mean? That means I can exert my will to a much greater degree than yours, that it trumps yours. You know what I mean? It's that ability to do work, but most important, how much of that is the willpower, your will to succeed, not what are you willing to do to succeed, because there's a difference, right? Because one can lead you to a path of savagery to gain your end result, while the other one is my will to live, my will to make my parents happy, and make them proud of it, for whatever that matter. I just don't like to use the word proud, just like the 7 deadly sins, pride. You know what I mean? Do whatever it takes for my son. My will to protect my son is very great as a parent. You know what I'm saying? And this will is what I apply to power, and this is what multiplies my ability to do work tenfold, 100-fold, depending on the importance of things. And I learned to deal with quality within self because I've dealt with the proper refinement, and I still am. Each and every day there's always refinement, always making proper adjustments, because each and every day, say you go to work, you outside, things that happen, and they kind of, you're using your sword, and that sword is hitting other objects, and little by little, like I told you, those teeth start to bend and do all that. You might still have, let's say a katana or whatever it is, and all these different points start to get blunt, and you have to refine it, bring it back to its intended purpose. And sometimes we get lost in that, and we have to know we got to get back to an intended purpose, and that comes with checks and balances, and it all adds up together. Comes all together, because in order for you to be able to deal with refinement within self, you have to be able to deal with equality within self. Because you see, equality is also how you deal with others. So if you get drunk in power, your equality is going to diminish with others, because you're not going to deal in equal terms. And this happens a lot. And I mean, all I can speak for is the American culture, because this is where I live. And it's like, you get a new position, a higher position, all of a sudden you just start walking. You see this all the time. It's like, oh, he's the new boss. Now you expect everybody to kind of get down in there. And it's like, yeah, recognize me as the boss and stuff. And that's not right. And exactly. I got a new position at my job, and someone under me said, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. Anybody can be a manager, but it takes much more to be a leader. And he's like, you are a leader, and you are good for this team. And I really appreciate that. And I thought about that. And obviously he's an older gentleman than myself. And again, the wisdom, the experience from somebody older than you. You know what I mean? And this is why it's important that we look to the elders for guidance and just the jewels that they drop. And it's something that I thought about because, yeah, there is. How many people do you know in your experience that got promoted to a higher position, all of a sudden they become a-holes now? You know what I mean? And it's completely different. Maybe the pressure got to them and they just cracked, and that's the only way that they know. You can still be human and still be able to delegate to those that are under you, per se. And I don't mean under in a negative connotation. You know, it's just looking at the hierarchy of things. You know, and best way you can do that is with that equality element. You know, it's just like, yo, I'm still me. Yes, I got more responsibility now. I have this authority that I have to be able to utilize to make this work. You know, you got to be able to find that fine balance of being a friend. You know, some people can't do that, where they become friends with their employees, and then when it comes time to correct a negative action, it's hard for them because they're friends, or this employee of yours doesn't take you seriously because you've been too friends, so they're not going to listen to you. So this is important that we think about this. You know what I mean? When I'm noticing the music's not playing in the background, so let me go ahead and change that. Give me a second. Peace. I'm back. I pressed the stop button instead of the pause button, so I had to kind of figure out how to combine the clips together so it's just not two videos. And that's my fault. I'm learning as I'm going. You know what I mean? Because again, this is raw and uncut, no filters or nothing like that. And again, because life is real, man. You know what I mean? Like music in the background, you know what I'm saying? Nice, relaxing. This is what it's about. You know? And back to the above, what I was building on. You know, getting a promotion and stuff. You know, back at it again. It's just having that power to be able to look at yourself and say, I gotta make some changes. I gotta stop doing this and that because it is not good for the equality. And that equality is how you deal with others, man. You want to make sure that everything is in balance. You don't want to mess up that emotional quality that you have within self and within others, man. You know, and being able to apply that power to other things too. That power struggle with your kids or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you want to be able to always be in control of your emotions. Having that power, and that refinement comes in whether you have to take therapy, whether you have to just deal with meditation and just be able to stay at a calm, at peace mind. Many might not understand when it comes to meditation because all they know is what they see on social media and all that Americanized version, I should say. But being able to have inner peace, you know, dealing with things outside of you to make you feel calm or whatever is not something that is natural per se. You have all the tools within you to be able to make that happen. So why not utilize that ability within self? You get what I'm saying? This is important for you. And this is the aspect of what the power or refinement comes into play. This is the aspect of it, the quality of it, I should say, because these things can be applied each and every day, each and every way. You know, it's for your growth and development, you know, and you just got to keep at it every day, you know, and the more you practice, the more proficient you get at it. Not just becoming a lip professor and being able to go, because these mathematics, you know what I'm saying, it's power, refinement, and try to sound smart. That's not what it's about. We're not here to regurgitate information. We're here to be able to apply and make and take it from knowledge to born. My job is to make knowledge born so you can take it from knowledge to born. Taking it from that idea and being able to see it through to its completion. And you guys will be able to see the fruits of your labor. And how can you do that? With your power, with your ability, and your willpower, the will to see things through and get it done, regardless of what hardships is out there. You know what I mean? You want to refine the mental, make adjustments to your thinking habits, because it's not just so much of physical habits that you have. It's your mental habits, how you process things, always taking it to a negative connotation, always thinking that somebody's trying to offend you, saying something that you don't like. You sometimes got to pause and be like, is it me that is interpreting like that? Am I looking at it from a negative lens at all times? Because maybe you might know or you might not know. You just have you might be self-conscious about something, so you have like this defense, attack first, ask questions later, not knowing that that's not what the person meant. You have to be able to discern, all right, this is what this person meant, even though that's how you take it. Now, if it's something that's constantly happening, it's two things. You either got to question if it's you that's always seeing it like that, or does the person always see it like that? This is why you question. You ask the question. You put into motion your ability to be able to refine. So that's the wisdom power. So you ask, hey, what did you mean by that? Instead of like, yo, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, that's not what I meant. You know what I mean? So again, you want to be in control. And the best way to do that is always to deal with refinement. Because we are growing and we are learning. So we are dealing with a point in our lives where we might be dealing with things that we never experienced. We don't know how to handle it. So it is best sometimes, like they say, hindsight is 20/20, because you can think back, oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. But it's already too late. That doesn't exist anymore. That's the past. What exists is now. The moment is now. And you have that power. And you got to be able to apply that power correctly. So with that, I want you guys to just be able to just keep practicing. Keep dealing with that power and dealing with that refinement. So be observant of the equality and how you guys are with others, man. And how you are with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself, and don't be too soft on yourself either. Please subscribe. And if you like where we're going with this, hit that like button. Leave a comment. Leave a question. And if it's something that's important to you, then we'll figure it out together, man. Because I would like to know too. I'm not saying I know everything. Best way to learn is to see what we all going through the best way we can. And I said this to my brother earlier, you being the oldest, you have the opportunity to go through things first than I can. So all growing up, it'll always see, all right, oh shit, he did, he got his ass whooped. So let me not do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my brother was the, for lack of a better term, the sacrificial lamb or something like that. That was not the intended purpose, but we learned through the actions of my brother. And that's how I am the way that I am, because of my brother. Just watching my brother, always wanting to be like him, because I got in trouble a lot doing stuff that he did. You know what I mean? And let me not put it out that things that I thought he was doing that was cool, try that in school, it's not working. You know what I mean? So it's again, this is how I learned. So again, if you guys have questions, anything that you're curious about, go ahead and feel free to and just ask it there, man. So again, just subscribe, like, and I'm always striving to do these every day, you know, and just kind of getting ready, and obviously getting the camera experience per se to get the podcast going. And I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be cool. And just my people that know me, my personality, I always like to joke around, and you know, obviously I know when to get serious, but I'd rather smile than frown or anything like that, you know, and just seeing the funny side of things, you know, and I think it would be a good formula. All right. Definitely want to have a lot of guests just come in and just build, you know, see how other people see it. You know, the best way to learn is to see it from others as well. Just getting a plethora of just different ideas coming to you from different aspects, different backgrounds and all that, right? So I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to spending that quality time with you guys and just exercising my power to be able to refine and just make it and find adjustments to this, you know what I mean? And it's all fun for me. I enjoy doing it. It's not work. And that's how I want to keep it going. All right, so with that, I say peace, guys. You know, have another glorious day. Enjoy this glorious day. And remember, proper application is what you need, and with the power. Don't get drunk off of it. Peace.